Hey all, this is Chase from the All Blue Crew, taking a look at round number 2 of Saturday morning locals here with Red Purple Law. We are in round number 2. I am currently 1-0, and we're playing against probably one of my least favorite matchups, and that is the Doflamingo matchup. Doflamingo is good at getting bodies on board, also very good at playing one specific card, and that card is... Do I even know the full name of the card? Raging Tiger, Gravity Blade, something like that. Gravity Blade, Raging Tiger, something like, I don't know. It's got 4 words. It's Gravity Blade. It bottom decks 2 6-drops or less for the cost of 7 Dawn, and also has a trigger of bottom decking 1 5-cost or less. That card is absolutely lethal to Law's game plan. Law's pretty good at putting 2 things into play, but you know what also takes 2 things out of play? Gravity Blade. So my goal here is to try to establish as aggressive as a board as possible, and I am on the play. I ended up losing the die roll. Doflamingo chose to take the draw. Typically, I don't know. I like Doflamingo to take the play, but you know, Doflamingo also has a lot of good plays on the even curve, so it makes sense sometimes to just go with the 2-4 play. On 4, you can go Jinbei or any other 4-drop, and then on 6 you can set up like a Doflamingo blocker, you know, set up top 5, yada yada yada. On 4 you can also just play Perona and then attach 2 to lead and activate effect as well. Looks like they're just going to go with a blind play here. Flipping over, oh no, it is a Kaido. That is one of the worst cards you can see. Now Doflamingo only grabs a 7 Warlords type character with a cost of 4 or less. Kaido not being either of those. He's a poor little Emperor sitting at 10 drop, but I know potentially that Kaido is going to be coming in the late game, and my goal is to, you know, defeat Doflamingo before Kaido comes. Again, I'm on the odd curve here. Like I said, my deck doesn't really hate the odd curve, and I know going against Doflamingo, the 1-drop Gordon or Raise Max is like nothing's going to happen to it. If I just play it out and threaten it, I know nothing's going to happen to it. They just don't have a lot of ways to interact other than just like their big bottom decking cards, and they're not going to spend, you know, a Gravity Blade to bottom deck a Gordon. So instead, I'm just going to play out the Miss All Sunday. Miss All Sunday is going to ramp me up to 6, and now I'm considering, do I want to just keep going aggressive? Do I want to -3 and then play something out like the Sachi Penguins, which is going to get me back up to 5 Dawn, or I could play out a Bond Clay, which is going to get me to 4 Dawn, which will get me to 6 Dawn for the next turn. Likely, especially with Doflamingo not having any bodies on board, I might as well just go ahead and -3 and play something out. That knowing that Kaido could potentially be coming at some point, that Bond Clay is looking a little scary for the opponent here. We're gonna go ahead and -3. Thinking about it, I could just go to 8 next turn and just be like hyper aggressive with my Dawn, but my hand's got a lot of plays in it, and with me, when it comes to minusing Dawn for Law, as long as I'm like making sure that the next turn I'm in the 5 to 6 range, I'm pretty happy, right? If I'm higher than that, I'm even happier. But we're just gonna go ahead and play the Bond Clay. Now this was a slight misplay, right? I don't have Radical Beam in my deck. Why do I have 1 Dawn up? Well, that's because I was debating back and forth whether I wanted to play the Sachi and Penguin or threaten the Bond Clay. And Bond Clay does give you 1 Dawn active, and I could have actually sent 6 at lead, but again, Doflamingo and blue decks that run the 7 Warlords package have bukus and bukus of 2Ks at their disposal, so I'm sure it would have just eaten a 2K regardless if I attacked with 5 or 6, and it did. And here opponent's just going to play the Gecko Moria that bring back a 2K to hand. Nice little recycle there. Then spending 6K at Zoro here, and I'm just going to let Zoro die. That is fine with me. Yes, I could have countered out of it, but at this point, Zoro's already done its work, right? Zoro's attacked twice, and that's enough for me. So going up to 6 Dawn turn, I do draw the Zoro Juro. It's pretty useful, but I am kind of eyeballing that Reiju here. I could play the Queen minus Dawn, play the Queen and then activate the Gordon, you know, to allow me to bottom deck the Moria. But I'd be setting myself back 4 Dawn in 1 turn. I really, really do not like playing Queen on the same turn that I activate my leader effect, though I do have the Sachi and Penguin in hand here to offset that. But man, minusing 4 in 1 turn, no bueno. I do not like doing that at all. Not at all. It could set you back, 2 whole turns. And and it's easier for me to come back from a -3 than it is sometimes to come back from a -4. So we're just thinking here, obviously want to make sure that we're using the Dawn, right? Thinking about if I want to activate that, and you know, I'll go ahead and activate it here. This is just to potentially get around a Gravity Blade coming off the top, right? If I trigger a Gravity Blade, potentially, and okay, so we're just electing not to -3 this turn. So we're just gonna go ahead and send 5 into 2. More likely than not, Doflamingo will not counter out of that. But also, if I decided to go lead there, right, attach some Dawn and go lead, I would be potentially playing around a Gravity Blade, bottom decking my Gordon before I could use it. Gonna go ahead and send 7 to lead. They do 1k, 2k out of that. One of the 2ks was one of the 2ks they got back from the Gecko Moria. And then we're just gonna play out the Reiju. I am at 4 cards in hand, and I think at this point we are at equal Dawn, I believe. 6 Dawn to 6 Dawn. Just checking there. So it is equal or lesser Dawn, and 5 or less cards in hand. So I will draw 2. We're gonna see a Kitten Killer and another Raise Max. So I do have some ways to bottom deck some things. So we're just gonna go ahead and pass the turn. Unfortunately, no good swing with the Bond Clay yet, but Bond Clay is threatening, right? We're threatening some nonsense, and it looks like we do decide to go ahead and -3. We're just gonna go ahead and build a board, and this is where we kind of have the free play of Sachi Penguin. Sachi Penguin coming out, getting us back to 5 Dawn, taking us to 7 Dawn for the next turn. Doflamingo's board is empty. That is what I like to see. Going to the Doflamingo matchup on their turn, they're going to go up to 8 Dawn here on their 8 Dawn turn. They have nothing in play. I have 4 bodies, and they're down to 4 at this point. They have been pretty good at countering out of a lot of things, but their hand size is getting a lot smaller. This turn I could potentially expect a Gravity Blade to happen, as well as a 6k swing with Leader. That's probably one of the better plays that Doflamingo could do. If Doflamingo knew what the top of their deck was, they could also like swing 8 at like one of my things, like All Sunday, and then like activate Leader effects, flip something over, then they have 4 Dawn to potentially play another thing from hand. But they do end up Gravity Blading, removing both the Reiju and the Miss All Sunday, which, you know, also another very good play. And then they're going to hold Radical Beam up and attack me for 5. So I will just counter out of that. I'm very curious why they didn't use that other Dawn. I don't know what blue events they could be potentially running, but you know, it makes me curious, right? If they are, you know, working with something, right? You never know, right? It's locals. People could have the spice. People could pull out, you know, anything and bop you with it. So I'm gonna respect that one up. Right? I know it's not a Radical Beam, but it could be something, or it could be absolutely nothing. I also have the tendency to leave one Dawn up on accident. As well sometimes, so definitely can understand that play there. We are up to, I believe, 7 Dawn. I could just Queen here to draw some additional cards. I also have the Kitten Killer in hand, but Kitten Killer is pretty useless right now, as Doflamingo's done a really good job at protecting their life total. Pushing 6Ks at Doflamingo doesn't always make sense, just because they have so many 2Ks. Sometimes just pushing 5s is better. But I'm going to go ahead and just continue to not listen to my words here and just send 6K, getting the free 2K out, right? If it was a 5K, it would have also gotten the 2K out, and it would have saved me a Dawn. But I'm always glutton for sending 6s. But in hindsight, you know, I could have sent a 7 and a 5, and I potentially could have had the same result. They do end up taking it on the 6K hit. And we'll go ahead and -1 on the Queen, drawing 2 cards. Ooh, baby, we hit another Reiju, and we hit a Sachi Penguins. My hand just keeps getting better. We're going to go ahead and discard this Raise Max, because they still haven't played any threats, and I already have one in hand. And my hand is just shaping up. It is shaping up so good. I've been even thinking about potentially minusing Dawn here if I wanted to, because I did draw the Sachi and Penguin. I could -3, play out the Sachi and Penguin, take myself to 6 for the next turn, and just like continue to establish a board, try to make up for the cards that are getting removed. And I am going to go ahead and -3 with no target here, playing out a Sachi Penguin, taking myself back up to 5, and then up to 7 for the next turn. So I'm building up a board. I'm trying to recover, right? We played 2 things out this turn to try to recover from that Gravity Blade and potentially try to weather another Gravity Blade, because again, Doflamingo often runs 3 to 4 copies, and you're typically going to see them in this matchup, especially just because you have so many great targets for them to bottom deck. And now they're up to the 10 Dawn turn. I am at the golden 3 life, so this could be a turn to just Kaido. We did see the Kaido go into hand after like the 3rd turn when they failed to use the Leader ability to bring something into play off the top of their deck. They're going to go ahead and play Kaido. Kaido's going to draw them up 2. They're going to double the hand size from 4 to 8. That's a lot more 2Ks in hand potentially. So, you know, it's a little scary, but hey, you know what I did earlier in the game? I played a Mr. 2, played a Bond Clay, and now that Bond Clay is going to swing for 12K. So that's kind of the threat, right, of Bond Clay. If you play Bond Clay against a deck that can't really do a really good job, like, or removing it, Bond Clay can be really threatening. So here Bond Clay is threatening as a 12K, right? So that's a guaranteed hit. So we can pretty much say that the Doflamingo player is down to 2 at this point, because they're most likely going to take this 12K hit. So it's pretty nice. I do find another Reiju, right? So I've seen 3 out of my 4 Reijus. I'm high rolling right now. If I see at least 2 Reijus in a game, I'm feeling really good. Reiju is just such a powerful card in this deck, so powerful that it's on my sleeves as well. I always like to joke that Reiju liked Red Purple Law better than her own deck, and that's why she sees a lot more play in this deck. We are at the 7 Dawn, right? 7 Dawn turn. I have the opportunity. I'm probably just going to play the Kid Blocker potentially, but we're going to go ahead and start with a 12K at lead to try to take them down to 2. That puts them in Kid and Killer range to swing 7K as well. And they are going to go ahead and take that again. Why would you counter out of 12K? Luckily, no trigger, right? Doflamingo has not been triggering anything yet, so Gravity Blade and Red Rock are 2 cards that they run that have triggers to bottom deck 5 and 4 drops, so that is something I need to be careful about potentially, but, you know, lucky here at this time. So we're going to go and tap 4. We're probably just going to play out a Reiju here. I do have, again, 5 cards in hand and less Dawn than them, so I'm going to play out the Reiju. Reiju will draw me 2 cards, taking me up to 7, hoping to find some more gas. I do see 1 law. I was like, all right, maybe I'll play it. 2 laws, you know, you got to play it at this point, right? Doflamingo has 9 cards in hand. You best believe I'm going to -3, and I'm going to play out this law. I am going to -4 Dawn this turn, so I can get the mad value here. Though, you know, I'm doing it because I get the value, right? Potentially hitting some 2Ks out of hand or hitting some really annoying bottom decking cards. But here I will be potentially setting myself down to 5 Dawn for the next turn, which ain't great. It's not great. I don't have a way to recoup any of my losses here on the board. Typically having a Kid Blocker on board will make that hurt a little less. But going down to 5, very unfortunate. So I think I am just going to go ahead and split up my Dawn. I'm just going to go 6, and just another 6 after that. Do think in hindsight maybe I could have gone like a 5, a 6, and a 7. 7 requiring them to get at least 2 cards in their hand. I think I decide potentially not to do the law play here by swinging lead. They do counter out of the first hit. They're probably going to counter the second hit, though this does still put them at 7 cards in hand, right? And so I will still play out the law. I have to do it, right? I've drawn 2 of them. I'm going to leave the Bond Clay up. Potentially, it's now like a pseudo blocker, right? Because Doflamingo is not going to want Bond Clay to stick around. We're going to go ahead and play out the law, and man, this hurts. We're going to minus ourselves down 4 Dawn, but hey, we're going to get 2 cards out of the opponent's hand because the opponent still has 7 cards in hand here. Went from 9 to 7, countering 2Ks. I'm just explaining. Just shuffle up your hand real quick, and then lay your hand face down, and I'll take 2 cards at random. Little face cam surprise. I need a haircut. My hairstylist had a baby, and I just like never got my haircut in between. So it was 3. I've been 3 months without a haircut. Getting a Gravity Blade and a Red Rock out of hand, that is pretty awesome. 2 huge, well, Gravity Blade obviously great hit. Red Rock not so much. Red Rock 6 Dawn to bottom deck anything. With my like maximum Dawn per character is about 4 to 5. Doesn't feel like a very good trade, but getting that Gravity Blade out of hand, that's 1 less Gravity Blade I have to look at, and I do still have 2 blockers as well as my Bond Clay. I might potentially save my Bond Clay, potentially if they decide to attack into it, because again, that Bond Clay is threatening a 12K attack every single turn. Very, very hard for them to counter out of. That is, what, 5 2Ks? 4 2Ks? Yeah, 4 2Ks. Because 3 2Ks would be 11, so at least 4 2Ks to get out of, which is a lot of resources. So Doflamingo is going to go ahead and play out a Doflamingo blocker, reorder the top 5, potentially set themselves up to swing in and get the effect. My board's looking pretty good here, knowing the Gravity Blade is not, at least it wasn't in hand. They potentially could have another one, right? They could... oh my goodness, they're tapping 7. Do they have another one? Oh my gosh, they had another one. So that's the third Gravity Blade here. I got one played on me earlier, one discarded, and then the third one played out here. Going to get rid of both my blockers. That is unfortunate. That means that Bond Clay is likely going to die here. We're going to go see 12. I think 12, where's 12 going? 12 is going... it looks like it's going at lead. So 12 at lead. All right, Bond Clay's safe for now. Alrighty. And does not attack with leader. I guess an unfortunate play there. Got too excited about the Kaido attacking and all that. That Bond Clay definitely shouldn't have lived there. Should definitely be dead. So that Bond Clay is going to throw another 12 Clay. Opponent's at 2 life. I have a Kitten Killer in hand. I have 5 Dawn. I am potentially scared of dying. But I am feeling pretty confident in going for game here. Worst case scenario, I could minus Dawn and play out a Sanji blocker to ensure that I don't die, because they do not have any rush cards unless they put, like, you know, the rush Usopp. And I'm gonna go ahead and send 7k at lead. They go ahead and take it. I'm gonna go ahead and send 6k at lead, and they're gonna take it again. This makes me wonder what the heck is in their hand, right? Doflamingo is the deck of 2Ks. They're going to go ahead and just block and decide, maybe they thought about saving it. And then I'm going to go ahead and just send 7k at lead. I do still have the Kitten Killer in hand if I wanted to minus and play out the Kitten Killer. But I think we're going to go 7 here and then just send the 12 and see what happens. The 12 is most likely going to eat all the counter in their hand. And if not, it's just going to defeat them. And it does. 12k gets over the hill here, and we do managed to take down Doflamingo. Honestly, one of the hardest matchups for LOL, but that kind of went my way. Doflamingo didn't really see any action the first few turns, and then I just, had enough on board to keep pressuring them down. And with that, that's round 2, and we'll see you in the next video.